Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting presentation of NFRW on the Issues. I'm Ann Shockett, President of the NFRW, the National Federation of Republican Women. NFRW membership has its privileges, so we make this exclusive to you, our NFRW members. And today's show, it's going to be a fascinating insider's look at the RNC convention and the presidential campaign. You and I are members of the largest grassroots Republican women's organization in the entire United States, and we're at the forefront of political activities and issues on the local, state, and national levels. What affects our nation affects us. And because of that, NFRW builds leaders, energizes communities, and keeps America strong. And today we are truly privileged to have a special friend and federated sister with us. And introducing her is the immediate past president of our organization, Jody Rushton. Jody?
Thank you, Ann. What a pleasure it is for me to introduce to you Toni Ann Dashiell today. Toni Ann is truly a leader among leaders, and she says she's been active in politics for 50 years. But you know, I'm not sure I believe that, Toni Ann, because you're only, what, 30, 35? So how could you be active for 50 years? She is truly one of our great leaders, not only in the state of Texas, but nationally. And we love her for everything that she does. I want to tell you a little bit about all her awards. She was given the Ronald Reagan Leadership Award by NFRW in 2009 for a distinctive term as president of the Texas Federation of Republican Women. In 2013, Toni Ann was elected as our RNC National Committee Woman, and she has been reelected again, not only in 2016, but also just this year in 2020. And we are so proud of her as being our National Committee Woman. I'm proud to say she's my friend, and she is a friend to all of NFRW. I give you Toni Ann Dashiell.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you so much, Jody and Ann. You guys, what an incredible opportunity. We're all together. It's like, as Ann says, we're sisters. And to be a member of the NFRW, the Texas Federation, and ultimately the NFRW, I love being able to tout all the wonderful things that we all do together as a team. And that's what's so important. And I think this is fabulous that we have an opportunity to kind of share a few insights with each other. But I want to give a special shout out to a team that I've been working with since September. It was September at our convention that I had the opportunity to speak, and then a team from the Committee on Arrangements and also representing the RNC and the NFRW. We came together, and ladies, I want you to know, this was probably the most impressive team I have ever worked with. I told them that a bunch of times. I mean, almost every time we had our call, because they got things done. And that's what we are so good about doing. The women get things done. And, you know, I mean, they're on the team. Jody was the president when we first started, and we met in her suite that night that started the ball rolling. And then, you know, President Ann has brought it through, and we have Pat Smith from North Carolina and Beverly Olsby from South Carolina, and then Linda Perdue. No, that's not how you say it. Well, Linda, you know your last name, from North Carolina, and then we have Robin Moore from Wisconsin, and then the staff. I mean, we couldn't do this without the staff. So that was everything that we have done about the 19th Amendment. And I want to make sure that you say thank you to those ladies, because they have done so much to accomplish the goal, our mission, and that was to educate, and which they have done. And through the help of the staff, I mean, it's out a lot of times on your Capital Connections, on the website. those things we've educated, we brought in new people because of it. And what ultimately it's going to do is it's going to help reelect President Trump. But that's what we're talking about tonight, is the first step of reelecting President Trump is by renominating him and Vice President Pence. So let's look at a little bit of the timeline, because it has been kind of a little roller coaster ride that we've had over the last couple years. Well, actually, it's only been since this year that it got to be a real roller coaster ride. But it started back when the RNC selected Charlotte as the city that was going to host the 2020 convention. And that actually happened here in Austin, Texas, July of 2018. Earliest it's ever been. And the host committee came out. It was just a real group. It's still a great group of people. And then the host committee was developing, and they were getting things rolling as they got the volunteers back on. Again, let's reflect back in September of 2019 at our convention, the NFRW. We started asking for volunteers, and you guys helped make those numbers come up to the 10,000 that they needed. And they came across the whole United States, which is so impressive, which makes me think of the whole United States. You know, there's over 42 states on this call tonight. 42. That is just fabulous. I mean, I see friends from all over. Anyway, back to the topic. I was then nominated, appointed, I should say, as the committee, the chairwoman for the Committee on Arrangements. But a little bit, I don't know, some of you maybe have heard this, but it really is truly such an honor. Ronna McDaniel took 3 names into the President of the United States. And to think that my name was talked about with the President at the White House, it kind of gives me chills. And then to be the one that was selected to be the COA chairwoman was pretty impressive. I was just humbled and thankful for all of that. And, you know, so we have Ronna, then myself, and then the next leader of the bunch was Marsha Lee Kelly, who is our CEO and COO. And let me tell you, if you haven't met her, she is really a dynamo. She came from the White House. She worked with President Trump. She worked with the First Lady. In fact, a little tad bit there is that she still consults with the First Lady. They have a very special relationship. And Marsha Lee Kelly just is one incredible worker and has brought in so many people as our directors. I mean, top-notch people that have worked so hard to make things work. And we were talking a 5-star convention, and I think we're still going to be able to talk 5-star here in just a few minutes, but maybe not in person, but what's been in person really since March of 2020. And then there's, you know, and they had earliest, we were ahead of everybody when we would put something on and it would be like, say, for example, the media. We'd have media, a media weekend or a couple days. They came in, they were treated like kings and queens. And I know maybe they're not our friends, but then they would go to the Democrat side and they're going, oh my gosh, they did nothing for them. We always made people feel very special. And that was pretty cool. And we were continuing on. Things were rolling along pretty smooth. And then what happened in March? In fact, I flew back on March 11th. I flew back from Charlotte. And basically that was, well, it wasn't the last time I was in Charlotte. I've been back one time, which I had an apartment. I was supposed to be there like months, you know, for 4 months. Well, that didn't happen. And then it all started to kind of explode is what happened. And then the big day was on May 25th, Memorial Day weekend. And the president said, I'm not going to Charlotte. We're not going to have I'm not going to accept my nomination in Charlotte. It's like, oh, really? So then it began the roller coaster ride is what happened. And things were looked at. How could we work? We worked with the governor. I mean, ladies, I want you to know, well, Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel, by our President Marsha Lee Kelly, all of the key players on the host committee, all the key players in all the different entities. We laid out a plan that said, let's do this, let's look at this, this, and this. Basically, he said, he snubbed us and said no. And he truly is the reason why that we ended up leaving for a short time and basically only having one day now, a 1 day of business in Charlotte. So then, okay, so let's look at also, so we ended up deciding to go to Jacksonville, but before we chose Jacksonville, the RNC ended up invoking RNC Rule 37E. And that rule, what that does, it says that we have the authority, we the RNC, to make changes because we cannot convene under the circumstances. So it's an emergency, basically it's an emergency type of rule that allows the RNC Executive Committee to be able to create rules that are procedures that will authorize us to be able to nominate our president, vice president. That was a big deal. And on June 10th, those procedures were accepted by the executive committee and then approved also by the complete RNC, the 168. So that was on June 10th. And then on June 11th, we ended up, we named Jacksonville. Well, that was exciting. And I went out to Jacksonville, checked it out. I don't know if you've been to Jacksonville or not, but that's a pretty impressive place. And they have all of this room, I mean, this sports area, which has a baseball field, a football stadium, a hockey arena, has all of these all together, and all the plans were going fine in there. Now we know COVID started to come up, and that tended to be a problem. So then on July 23rd, just a little over 5 weeks after we'd made the decision we're going to Jacksonville, the president makes the announcement, we're not going to Jacksonville. Now, a little inside scoop there is really not many people. And when I say not many, I'm telling you there was only a handful of people that knew that this was going to come down. But the president, I'm going to say this, I love President Trump. I think he is incredible, but he really took the lead. I mean, he made a decision that was tough, but he did it for the health and safety of all of us. And he took advice, and which is one thing that he does. He gets phone calls, he calls people, he interacts, he takes information in, and then he makes a decision. And he made that decision, and it didn't leak out because only that handful of people knew that was happening. I wasn't one of them. I mean, there was very few of us. In fact, that same day, I had talked to probably 5 different departments talking about volunteers and hotels, and then oh, we're not going. We're like, really? Okay. But again, I tell you, maybe it was a shock at the moment, but it was the right decision. It truly was the right decision. So I hope that you agree with that, because we're much better off getting together like we are now. I mean, I feel like I'm so connected with all of you. I see your names, I see your faces, I see what you're doing on Facebook, that this still connects us. I mean, yeah, sure, I want to give you a great big hug, but we still are connected and we can get things done. And so that's where we're going. That's the direction we're going. Well, I want to tell you a little bit more about Rule 37E, because this rule, besides saying that, okay, we have a new plan of action, what is that plan? There's been a lot of talk about it out there, and I just want to make sure that we get some things clarified. But let me also say this, things do change, but these rules cannot change because they have been voted on, and we are going forward with what I'm going to tell you right now. But there are other things that could possibly change that I'm going to tell you in a few minutes that I don't think too many of you might know. But let me just tell you about the rule. Is that, well, first we're going to have our RNC meeting, and our RNC meeting is going to be on the 22nd and 23rd. That's our normal meeting that we usually have, a summer meeting. Now, then we will have the convention meeting for business only on one day, basically half a day. But there are only 6 members from every state that are delegates, I should say, delegates that are going to be representing the state and territory. That equals 336 people. Now we had to figure out how this is going to work, because we have to be sensitive to the social distancing and all the guidelines that we have said that we're going to do. I don't know if any of you are on the call that are going to be there. Oh, in fact, I know Linda's going to be there. If she's still on the call, she might have gotten her electricity shut off. But there are probably some of you that will be. And that those 6, let me tell you who the 6 are. Your state chairman. So we have any state chairman, thank you for being the state chairman, and you would be there. Your national committee man, which we don't have any of those on the call. National committee woman, which I'm, as you heard, I am, and I think there might have been a couple others that were joining us today. And then you're going to have the chairman of the state delegation. So every state's a little different. Texas, we elect that position, the person to represent us. Some states end up appointing, so that all varies. But that person, and then you have the 2 people from the Committee on Credentials. So it's a man and a woman, and they will be voting members. So those are your 6 people that you have that will attend. They cannot have guests. There'll be no guests at the RNC. The other 3 can come into the RNC if they want, if they choose to, the meeting. But the morning of the 24th, Monday the 24th, those 6 people will be representing your state. They will have the proxies, and they are the ones that are going to do the business at hand. And what does that mean? The very last thing that they do is that they will be doing the nomination around probably 12:30, not absolutely sure of the time frame. We're supposed to be done somewhere between 1 and 2. That we will be ending up, they will be the ones voting for everybody. The platform will be the same platform as 2016, and will move forward to 2024. That cannot be voted, opened up. That they have committee members that have been voted on from each state, but there will be no committee meeting. That is strictly, they're getting that done in name only, or a surrogate, or, they're just getting to be glorified to be in that position. Rules committee, the same thing. All the other committees are all the same. The rules are set until we start having our meetings at the RNC next year. We can evaluate, look at the rules. We can change the rules, but only through 2022. After September 2022, they're set, cannot be changed until we come back to the convention in 2024. So that is really important to know that's going to happen. But I kind of I've told a few people, is that we're doing the business on Monday, but that's kind of like a wedding, right? You get married at the Justice of the Peace and you don't have really anybody there, but then you end up on the big celebration, the night of the acceptance. That's like the celebration, that's the big party. And even though it's going to be electronic, or we're going to do it internet or YouTube, however it might be, that's when the big celebration's going to be. And so I just, those rules got set. We've got to abide by those rules. And sometimes it's a little tough. But the platform, I want to address the platform, is that people said, oh, they're going to change it. They're going to make changes. No, they are not going to make changes. It will be ruled out of order. Now, is something going to be maybe mentioned in a resolution at the RNC? That's possible. But then again, ladies, I am not going to guarantee that, because nothing is guaranteed in 2020. But that doesn't mean it can't be talked about. Doesn't mean that there isn't chatter going out there right now, because there is, but we just do not know exactly how that would look, because there's some things in there that the platform of 2016 talked about the previous administration. That was the Obama years. Thank God that's behind us. But now we're talking about Trump. So we might have to make a statement to make it a little more current, but it is not going to change the platform at all. It stands as it is right at the present time. So that's kind of like what's going to happen on Monday. And I know you've heard different things about that, but 6 people from every state and territory, only 336 people will gather, and we will do our business that day on August 24th. If I said the 26th, I'm sorry, the 24th. Now here's a little bit of what I heard. Now, I know there was some talk yesterday, I believe, Chairwoman Rhonda McDaniel was on was on Fox with Martha, and she talked a little bit about this. And then I called a person to have a little bit of more conversation. So this is what I know. Again, things are flexible, but this is what I know right now. It's not a lot, but it's a little. Is that there will be a celebration Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights. So I'm asking you to block off the 24th, 25th, 26th, and 27th. And I'm asking you to block those nights off. And it could be very early for the West Coast, or maybe out in Hawaii, or maybe in Guam, probably is the next day in Guam. But anyway, it's supposed to start somewhere, say late night, late night, 8:30, 9 o'clock. That's late for me. And that's Eastern time, and then go into like around 11 or so. That's the flexibility. Now, I don't know who these people are, but I do hear they are going to be some major surprises for all of us that are going to come in and speak to us as a group, as the convention. Exactly what all the details are, I don't know, but I know that, we have the themes that what we're looking at. They didn't tell me the themes, but I kind of guess, what about veterans? I would think, or any of the heroes, but those heroes can be veterans or doctors or nurses. I don't know that, but if you think about what have we been dealing with, that probably is something that we would be looking at. How about what the president has done in opportunity and giving people the opportunity, where we grew before, and now where we can end up, where he has the opportunity to bring America back to where it was, where he brought it to. And that's another thing that we need to look at. And I would think those would be some special people speaking to us. Again, I didn't get any names. I really do not know any names, honest to engine, but I do know these are really big surprises. And the other thing is I do not know where he's going to do it. Now, the White House has been mentioned. It's been all over the press about the White House. I really don't think that that's a possibility, but that doesn't surprise me that the president would say that, just to get the media and Pelosi and all them all riled up just to talk about it. That's his style, which we love that of him, right? It's like he just loves getting to them. But I have no idea. I just know that they're going to be very special. The plan is supposed to come out probably next week. So what I'm asking you to do is get people, yourself prepared, your organizations prepared to blast this out when we finally get the details. And that will be something that we will want to be able to share with the world, so that they can see what our president has been doing, vice president, and all of us working together to keep America great and back to where it was just in March, right? It was not that long ago. So those are things that I know. Hopefully it's a little bit more than maybe what you knew. And I hope that is information that we're going to be able to share a lot. It has been a roller coaster ride. Things change so quickly. I can remember when I was getting all the calls. Toni, where's our hotel going to be in Charlotte? Toni, when are they going to disclose all the hotels in Charlotte? And I kept on being told on the other end saying, Toni, we're holding, we're holding. Well, thank God they held, because all of a sudden we're going to Jacksonville, and we weren't, so people didn't lose any money that way. And we didn't have that 5-night commitment. So sometimes things happen for a reason. We're just not really sure. But anyway, and you guys are going to be able to take all of this. You're going to get all this information. You're going to be very excited about those 4 nights. Remember, 4 nights. And that we are going to then be able to go out, and we are going to be able to engage and do the things that you guys have already been doing, building your membership, engaging with people, making sure that we're on Zoom, on Facebook, all the different platforms that allow us to be able to share with other people. And one, I tell a lot of people this, and I think I've shared with many of you, but one platform that I really think that, or one website that is underused, and that is Promises Kept. Now, that promiseskept.com. Go to there, find out all the wonderful things our president has done, the promise he did 4 years ago, and how he has kept that now. It's up to us to share that information. And then the way, I mean, who's the best but NFRW.org? They have a wealth of information, and for us to continue to engage, I mean, you guys should be on that website every day finding something new to do, because there is so much to be able to grab from and to bring into your state, in your location, because every time you engage one more person, that is going to multiply, and those women are the ones that we need to be able to take President Trump over the top. So I kind of wrap that all together, because it's all about our president and nominating him. So I would love to be able to answer any questions that maybe I didn't cover, or maybe to clarify anything. So if it's okay, Madam President, is it okay that we go that direction?
Absolutely. And Toni, and first of all, I want to thank you so much for giving this timely briefing concerning one of the most important and exciting events of our lifetime. So many fascinating details and a wonderful insider overview of the convention. And I also want to thank you for your essential efforts serving Texas and the nation. All you do, Toni Ann, is with a heart as big as Texas. So yes, it's time for our live Q&A.
Yeah, well, we do all that together, Ann. You know, it's just, I love it. When you're with an organization you love, you'd have no problem opening up and doing that. So thank you.
Well, absolutely, it shows, and you're an inspiration. So our members look forward to this special part of the NFRW on the issues. So I'd like to start off with a question on many people's minds. Then we'll open it up to the Q&A immediately to our audience. Toni Ann, we've been hearing about the scaled down Republican National Convention in Charlotte may be closed to the press. And on Twitter, AP reporter Zeke Miller, who's the president of the White House Correspondents Association, called on the GOP to reconsider that. Will reporters be allowed on site as the delegates formally nominate our president? And if not, are there any other plans, for instance, live streaming as part of the press coverage options?
That is an excellent question. I'm so glad you brought it up, because last week I was on a call and I told the young Republicans the press wasn't going to be there. And I'm wrong, because the press is going to be there. We have opened it up. And that, when I said they weren't, I made a mistake, ladies. I made a major mistake. I took that information off of two kind of websites and press releases saying that but it wasn't the RNC that said it. So now I know, and heard it from her lips, from Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel, the press is going to be there. They will have an opportunity to, we're not able to jam everybody in there because we still have restrictions to do, but they are going to be invited. We are going to be able to have that whole day or that morning, our meeting is going to be streamed out there, and it will be on the networks and in media. So thank you, Ann, for that. Was a great question and important to ask so that people know they will be able to see it.
Thank you. Now this will be a live Q&A, so put up your hands.
Okay.
I see Eileen Sobczak, First Vice President of the NFRW. Eileen?
Yeah, just.
Oh, I can't hear you.
Yeah, there we go. I think I'm unmuted now. Okay. All righty. Hey, Toni Ann, good to see you. Before my question, I just wanted to share that I've subscribed to your YouTube. Is it Talking?
Tad Talks. Oh yes, it's talk. I have Tad Talks and Talking with Tad, right?
Yeah, and it's great. So I hope some of the ladies will check that out. I find it really interesting, and it's been great. I have a question. I'm so glad that we're going to have a celebration because there's just spontaneous things going on all over the country now. People waving their flags, their Trump banners, and so this is great. I can't wait to share what exactly is going to be the celebration, but it sounds like we'll be likely be in front of our TVs with a few friends and be able to share together. So that's awesome. My question is on a little bit different topic. With all of this, you know, that we've had all year, I know we do a lot of dialing, we do doorbelling, we give to candidates, but how can the NFRW work with the RNC in this strange year, this strange election year? What are some things that we can do to get out the vote?
Okay, so that's a great question. And Eileen, so good to see you. We were state presidents together, I think is back in 2008. That's when we met. So it's been a number of years we've been friends, and I love watching you on Facebook. So, and thank you for the plug with Tad Talks and Talking with Tad. That's Tad, T-A-D, not Ted, just to make sure people know. You know, what I'm going to suggest is that if you have a state that is one of the 17, that if you're in the like one of those swing states, that there are state directors that are there, and they have district directors also and staffers, so we can end up working with them in the state. Also now, like for example in California, we don't have a state director, but we have a regional director like in Orange County, trying to pull those number of seats that we lost. And that is another place and end up working. But I would say that what we need to do is possibly have a connection between, I'd have to figure out who the person is, because I know they've just come out with a new plan. And well, it's kind of the same, but it's developing new because they all met last week because they have a new political campaign manager, and that's Bill Stepien, who I love. I've gotten to know him a year ago and very impressed with him. Kind of a quiet kind of guy when it comes into that in front of the camera type of deal, but the man is brilliant and he can see a campaign and lay it out. So working with NFRW and the RNC/campaign, because they're all kind of together, I think we need to ask them how that works. Now I can also, you know, how we can make that work easily, a nice transition. But let me say this too, Rhonda Lacey with the mighty, well, she has the Texas Strike Force, but it's with the strike forces that they are able to reach out into different areas where it's needed. Now, somebody in Alabama, they are probably pretty hardcore Republicans. They could go in somewhere else and help make calls, or even they can go and knock on doors if they want to go over there. But I think the real question that you're asking is how do they work together? I need to maybe do a little more research and do some connecting with Ann and some of the people at the RNC, if she hasn't already done that. So that's very possible it's been done.
Yeah.
The next question comes from Leslie Fitzpatrick. Leslie, you're going to be unmuted. Now, if you have a question, anyone, please raise your digital hand. This is a wonderful opportunity to ask a live question. Is Leslie ready? Leslie?
I am, and thank you so much. Good to see you as
Great
well.
to see you.
Thank you. Hi, Toni Ann.
Hey, Leslie.
How are you?
Fabulous. Thank
Good.
you.
Well, you know, I met Toni Ann at the Georgetown Area Republican Women's Meeting back in December of 2011 when she was swearing in our board, and Toni Ann and I ended up in line together, and Toni forever changed my life with the Republican women and everything. So thank you for that. I'm currently the president of the Georgetown Area Republican Women in my second year. So what I want to know, thank you. I was a delegate to the Texas State Convention, the online thing we just did. And I'm excited about blocking off these days, and I don't know what that's going to look like, but I hope, and my question is about that, if we're going to have credentials where we can, only Republicans can get on there, because part of on that virtual thing that we had, there were trolls on there. There were people that said they were elected officials that they weren't. And the chat room was a train wreck. And I don't know if there's any way to put some parameters on this party to keep some of the Democrats and other troublemakers out. And I just want to put that out there because I didn't enjoy the virtual state convention because of all the negative chatter going on around it.
Well, Leslie, that's a great suggestion. I wrote it down. Again, I don't know all the details. Are they going to have a Zoom type of platform that allows delegates to come in and then the rest of the world will use it from another platform? But I will pass that information on and see. I'm sure there'll be a lot on Twitter. That'll explode because you always have the trollers that but we need to counter that. We've got to say positive things and say, because they just love going after the negative. So,
yes.
But that's a great suggestion, and I will ask that. Thank you. It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
For the kind words.
Thank
too.
you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. Great question. Now, the next raised digital hand comes from Loretta Bruning. Loretta, you're going to be unmuted. Loretta, are you here with us now?
Hi, yes.
Wonderful.
Hi. I'm curious what you think we can do about ballot harvesting. I have this image of people in mail rooms of institutions around the country scooping up these ballots, and I would just love to know what we can do about it.
Well, Loretta, and where are you from? I'm not sure I know. Where are you from?
Northern California.
Ah, yeah. Well, you guys got challenges.
Yep. Yeah.
As does Nevada. Well, I can tell you though that that is very dear to my heart that we deal with this, because it can get out of control. And I know the RNC they actually, if I'm not mistaken, sued California and won to help prevent that. And then the Nevada, so we're going in to all the different states that are trying to get actual ballots mailed to the people, which is so wrong. It's fine to do a process to get an application and then get it mailed in. In California, it's pretty easy in California how they do that, but not as easy as just mailing a ballot out to everybody. And you know what's very interesting? I know what's happening right now in many states is that they're working on this integrity. That is, they are training people to be to be clerks, to be judges, and to be poll watchers, and then also to work in the rooms, in the election rooms, to be watching in there. So it's not just us complaining and wanting something done. We have to take action too. Say, go to your county chair and go to the people in the elections on the Republican side and volunteer. Ladies, I know you guys all volunteer, but I'm asking you to step up again. And through this time, it's like here in Texas, they just extended the early voting to 3 weeks. Now I know there's some states that have it 4 weeks, you know, for early voting, which is okay because there's a system. But but when you talk about like Oregon, Colorado, Washington, to what that they strictly do mail in, and to mail them a ballot, we've got a problem. So we've got to be able to step up and really watch that, especially us, the ones that are experienced.
Excellent point. And as a matter of fact, that is this week's NFRW call to action. So look on Facebook and in the fast forward.
Right.
Any digital hands up? Let's see. Okay, I do have this that was just typed in from Cheryl Cothrell of South Carolina. Toni Ann, do you have to register to participate in the evenings that you mentioned? How do we get access?
So that's, you know, all that information is still being worked out. I did not get any of that. So the answer to that question is, I don't know. So we have to just wait. We will be getting those details. So wait till we get, you know, and see the emails or whatever might come out that explains. And then if you still have questions, please come back and we'll try to get them answered.
Wonderful. Thank you. And we look forward to getting that information.
Yes, exactly.
This next, any other digital hands? Okay.
Is that Barbara?
All right, Lisa.
Did I see Barbara? You have somebody that raised their
question.
Oh, sorry.
From Lisa May, president of Nebraska. What is the biggest takeaway from planning the 2020 RNC convention that would be beneficial in planning our own events?
You know, Lisa May, it's good to hear from you. Thank you for the question. I would say what was really important, Marsha Lee Kelly did with her directors, is that she had a meeting every week. And so that's an element of communication. And I think, as we all know, communication is such an important part of any project, of anything that we do in leadership. And that was what was so impressive, is that she was willing to share. She brought people together and allowed them to share and didn't keep things so close to the vest. So that was my biggest takeaway. That was a great question, Lisa May. Thank you.
Do we have time for one more question, Toni Ann?
Sure.
Okay, I would like to recognize Barbara Harvey, who has raised her digital hand. Barbara, you're going to be unmuted.
Thank you very much for taking a question from the great state of Maine. And if you've been watching what we're involved in right now, we're in a battle up to our necks trying to get rid of ranked choice voting so that it does not affect the outcome of the presidential election. And I wondered if Toni or anyone else had any thoughts on that. So Toni Ann, any thoughts on ranked choice voting?
I don't. I'm sorry. I actually would have to do more research. Maybe somebody else has some that might have an answer to that. But I would be more than happy to research it and be able, if you email me, then I would be able to research and try to get back to you. So I can make some calls on that.
Well, as we end NFRW on the issues, Toni Ann, do you have any closing thoughts for us?
Okay, so we are closing up. Oh my gosh. Well, ladies, you know, again, I absolutely love NFRW, and President Ann, I am telling you, what a incredible group. You know, as I was so blessed to be able to work with a small few, but I know so many people across the nation, and it's so important to connect. It's important to be able to continue that connection, to be able to share information with people, and to be able to go out and get that vote out. But let's really, really work on our ballot integrity. I'm glad that was brought up tonight. I'm glad you're bringing it up next week. I think it's such a crucial point. but information is important, and don't always believe everything that you read and see. Make sure that you dig into it to get the rest of the story. So thank you so much for this time, for allowing me to share and to be with your with NFRW, our group. And I am just honored, so honored to have that opportunity.
And thank you, Toni Ann. The time just flew by tonight. Did it feel as if it's already 45 minutes? It didn't to me, and I'm sure not to anyone else in the audience. And I have to say that every time you join us is truly a memorable experience. I would like to thank you on behalf of our entire NFRW family for sharing your insights with us. Toni Ann, you are an inspiration.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm honored.
And as always, we look forward to having you join us again soon. And hopefully, sometime soon in person. That would be.
Oh, that would be glorious. Amen to that. Yes.
Absolutely. Well, friends, this has been another NFRW on the issues, and I want to thank you for joining us. I'd like to also give you my deepest appreciation. I'm sure Toni Ann joins me in this, and our past president, Jody Rushton. We appreciate your hard work and your dedication during this critical election season. It's less than 90 days, and I know that NFR warriors are going to make the difference, and that we're going to be celebrating together on November 4th. Just a reminder, ladies, we look forward to having you join us next Wednesday, August 12th. Our special guest next week will be Senator Todd Young, and the senator is chair of the National Republican Senatorial Committee, and that's charged with supporting Republican senators and Senate candidates nationwide. So look in your inbox or in the Capital Connection for all details. Thank you, everyone. Till then, be well and be safe.
Bye.